I'm Peni and I'm a grower at Synacoid. I have been running a market garden and OPD farm for the last 9 years. I'm saying 95% self-sufficient in fruit and veg, and it all lies in the secret of looking after the soil and the composts. So I've co-made a composting course with Hugh Richards and Jack First, and it's given away all the secrets of hot composting, slow composting, and my own supercharged micro-rich compost. So I'm going to show you some of the results that you can get. So this pink chard has been feeding a lot of us since April, but what I wanted to show you is the sheen. When you get this waxy, shiny sheen on plants, that's when you know that things are singing. It's the lipids. It's the lipids in the soil, and the lipids, when you see a plant that's got this shine, it's showing you that the soil is really healthy, the plant is really healthy. The lipids help the plant to fight off pathogens and pests. And you will see in this tour that we go around the garden that all my plants, all my leaves have this shine. They have this oily shine. They're not all dry. They're shining, they're healthy, they're happy. Here's my calyx, and calyx are one of basically my favourite brassica. They're a cross between a Brussels sprout and a kale, and they are an F1. They're an F1 worth growing. In the winter, when we're living out of the garden and we're living from Brussels sprouts, purple sprouting broccoli and calyx. And Steph and I do taste tests where we're actually closing our eyes and tasting the veg, those 3 brassicas, to see which one's the best. And it always comes up top trumps calyx. And even when you get those winters where it's just -8 and it's raining and just horrid, calyx, they just stand up and they will just keep giving you. You actually get 4 harvests from a calyx. You get the leaf this time of year. You get the flower from about November till about March. Then you get like a purple sprouting broccoli flower, and then you get to eat the tops as well. So I think calyx are one of the best brassicas to grow. So every summer, one of my favourite crops to grow are Lulu's Best Ever. I grow them for myself, but I grow them for the seed for the Wales Seed Hub. This polytunnel is all top dressed yearly with my own compost that I make, and these Lulus, they never cease to fail me how awesome and how big they grow. And what's really great about a Lulu is when you cut it in half, it hasn't got loads of seed, you know, like in a normal tomato, like one of these. When you cut it in half, it's just full of gloop and seed. Well, a Lulu is not like that. You cut it in half and it's just pure tomato that tastes amazing, and the seeds are just round the edge. And you'd probably think to yourself, what do you do with all those tomatoes, Peni? Well, what I do with them is we are self-sufficient in passata. So every year we just harvest all the tomatoes and spend a day canning, and then I'm still eating my passata from last year. And I think we've still got about 20 jars left. So the passata, it just keeps us going, and it's always an easy meal. I also make pizza beans and ferment, like layering up the beefsteak tomato with my beans or with my mange tout. And then just generally eating them with the basil, and just, yeah, enjoying that summer love of tomatoes and basil. And you just don't get better than that. I think when you buy in compost, it's usually dead, and it's usually very dry, and it's not lively, and it doesn't have the extra minerals like basalt rock dust. It doesn't have the biochar to hold moisture, and it doesn't have the inoculations of the lively micro potions. You can see in here that my crops, they're just really abundant. I don't have to liquid feed because the compost itself is enough. And I top dress when I take crops out about that much, about an inch, no more than an inch of homemade compost, and these are the crops I get. And I'm not spending lots of money on seaweed, fertiliser. All I have to do is water, because the health is in the compost and the plants are rejoicing. They're just giving loads of harvests and they're just happy, they're just healthy. So I think you save a lot once you learn how to make compost in this way, even though it's quite a lot of energy, smashing things up and getting all your ingredients and doing the build. You're going to save a lot of money, you're going to save a lot of time, and you're not going to be battling with pathogens and pests. So in my garden, I've got zinnias in quite poor flower beds that I don't have time to top dress with my compost. And then I've got zinnias that I'm growing for weddings in here with my inch mulch of compost. And look at them, some of them are taller than me. And they're just beautiful and they're strong, and I've used them for cut flower, and literally they will stay beautiful for up to 10 days with a little bit of LAB in the water. Great, look at them. So these carrots were planted after my hardneck garlic was taken up. So first week of July, that's the time I sow carrots. I never sow carrots before July. These carrots will see me all the way through the winter. And I didn't put any compost on because I'd already, put compost on at the beginning of the year. So this is 6 weeks of growth with not much rain, and I haven't watered these beds, and I got carrots. So these are delicata squash. They're really cute, and if there's only one or two of you, you can just pull one off. You don't have to peel it, chop it up, a bit of coconut oil in the oven, yum. And this beast, so this is a blue Hubbard squash. So these ones are for my family to eat, but in another secret location, I'm growing blue Hubbards for the Wales Seed Hub, and they will be on the shop and the catalogue in December. So these lovely little pumpkins are ready, and when I plant a pumpkin, I literally get the equivalent of one small baked bean tin's worth of my really good compost, and put it underneath where I'm going to plant the squash plant. And literally that's all you need, is one small good handful underneath each plant, and you'll have squash like that. So this year I've really fallen in love with growing flowers, particularly dahlias. I feel like one of the reasons why they're 6 foot tall is because they're in really good compost. When you grow dahlias, if you want to get a head start, you start them in February, and you pot them in compost in February. So in February, I was here getting my compost, planting each one in about that much compost. And then in May, once they were nice and big, they were put outside, and once we'd got over frost dates, then they came out here. But again, if I was going to pot up all my dahlias and buy the compost, one, it would cost me a fortune, but two, it would dry out quite a lot. Whereas my dahlias, you can't really water dahlias a lot because you're at risk to rot the tuber. So with my compost that has the biochar, that really helped the dahlia tuber to get nice and strong before going out into the beds. So on the 10th of July, we harvested our potatoes because they were getting blight. And we also harvested our broad beans. So I smashed them up, mixed them with grass and muck and sawdust and biochar, and literally that is 5 weeks ago. So when I clear my beds and get ready to plant my garlic, the end of September, beginning of October, I've already composted all my potato tops and all my broad beans, ready to fertilise my garlic crop over the winter. It really works.